All right, we'll just give it, usually takes a minute for the loading bar to kind of get me into YouTube.
Got it.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, here we are at the first night of Driveway Con. Get me into YouTube. Oh, let me turn my volume off on my other monitor. Here we go. Sorry about that. Okay, so first night of Night of the Living Driveway Con. We have with us special guest Tim Kirk, writer, director, and producer of films like Sex Madness Revealed, The Terror of Frankenstein, Room 237, The Nightmare, Primal Scream, the El Duce tapes, and many more. And we are going to talk about that tonight. So, welcome, Tim. How are you tonight?
I am good, Devin. How are you?
Good. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, man. It's awesome that you agreed to hang out with us and share some time.
Oh, sure. I'm really looking forward to talking with you about it.
Yeah, cool. So I had the pleasure of meeting you when we were in New Orleans at the Overlook Film Festival, and was that your first time when at the Overlook?
It was the first time in the New Orleans version. I was at the Stanley in a couple years before with Terror of Frankenstein and The Nightmare up at the Stanley Hotel. Did you ever get up there?
I didn't. You know, I was living in Portland for many years, and but I never got a chance to go there. But that would have been oh, I'm sorry. The Stanley was in Colorado. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it was in Mount Hood.
Right.
And New Orleans. Okay. No, yeah. I've only been to the New Orleans one.
Ah, yeah, yeah. The Stanley, you know, is at the site of the hotel that Stephen King based the Overlook on. And I guess when they took the film festival on the road, they just dropped the Stanley and just made it straight out the Overlook Film Festival. But it's a great festival. Did you have fun?
Oh, it was incredible. Yeah, we are dying to go back. So obviously we didn't get to make it this year, but
sure.
Maybe next year or 2022.
Yeah.
So now you are a writer, a producer, and a director. Do you kind of self-identify as all of those things, or do you do kind of one thing primarily? How would you explain what you do?
I guess it's based on what I'm doing at the moment or what my focus is. I mean, I think for years I thought of myself as a writer, and then when I got more involved in production, then started adding those other things. But I've written of the recent films I've made. I've written, or I should say, co-written, Terror of Frankenstein and the Sex Madness Revealed. And then I've also written a novel and this collection of short stories that came out last year. But then I've directed, a couple of those films, and then I produced a number of films. A couple of those with Rodney Asher, who I've worked with closely for like the last 10 years on a bunch of projects.
And how did you and Rodney connect?
Well, I was doing a strange film anthology with some friends. Are you familiar with the Joe Chick tracks, the Chick tracks?
Is it Jack Chick? Or
Jack,
Joe?
thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, Jack Chick, of course.
Okay,
yeah.
So my friend Jamie had this brilliant idea, and she took one of the tracks and she shot it frame for frame, dialogue intact. Okay, it was called The Little Princess. And it was really funny and subversive without any big winks or anything. So a bunch of us were like, I'm doing it. So I did one called Bewitched, which was about a girl who gets tricked by the devil into taking an acid trip, and her grandmother has to save her. It's amazing. And so anyway, we got about 5 of these. We're like, boy, if we had a few more, we'd have a feature. And someone said, hey, there's this guy, Rodney Asher, and his friend Sid did one. And so we tracked him down, got him to do add it to our anthology, and then Rodney and I just became friends through that experience.
Yeah, yeah. From what I've seen of what you guys do, you guys are pretty like-minded for the kind of product that you're making.
Yeah, we definitely click.
So is that available to watch somewhere?
No, it's just, but I have a ton of them. So if anyone wants to write me, I'll send them. I'll send them.
Well, sign me up. That sounds like something I would definitely dig. But
oh, you'll dig it. I'm surprised I never haven't sent it to you before. I think you'll dig it.
No, that would be great. Yeah, no, the Jack Chick stuff is hilarious because you can always tell he's working through his own issues. Like he kind of likes this stuff a little bit too much.
Oh yeah, totally. It's like Milton writing Satan. That's when he came alive as a writer, and you can totally tell with Jack.
Right. That's hilarious. No, that I definitely, yeah, that's one of the ones that I haven't seen from you guys. So I definitely need to.
Oh yeah, I'll send it. There's a bunch. I think it's about 9 films and different directors, different takes. It's a blast.
That's cool. So now was the first film that you directed, was that Terror of Frankenstein? Is that the director's commentary?
Yeah, that was the first one.
Okay.
Other than this short for the Hot Chicks, the chick track thing.
Okay. And so your films are kind of like remix movies. And can you kind of explain like what your movies are as far as a process where you're using a lot of found footage or public domain, but you're kind of creating your own brand new narrative with it.
Right. Well, with the films with Rodney, and I got to give this a lot to his vision and his and his approach to filmmaking. But basically, we use a lot of like you said, found or repurposed footage. So the first one, Room 237, was entirely footage from The Shining, cut up into different forms, slowed down, backed up, shown backwards. With I would say then about 10% of cutting away to other things that were just sort of evocative of the point we were making. Then The Nightmare was a mixture of that with live action. This new one is animation with the found footage. But I started thinking it'd be fun to just do one that was just entirely one film and be kind of rigid about it. I'm not going to cut it. I'm not going to mess with it. I'm not going to do anything with it. I'm just going to create an entirely new film on top of that film. So the first was Terror of Frankenstein, and I was really intrigued with Frankenstein after The Shining, because The Shining to me, after making the Room 237, which was about all these theories about The Shining, The Shining to me is a lot about fatherhood. Now that may be because I was going through or having the wonderful experience of having a child for the first time. But so I was watching all these Frankenstein films and I found this Terror of Frankenstein. And with my cousin Jay, we wrote a script, and basically it's a fake director's commentary between the director and the writer talking about the making of the film. And a whole other plot sort of emerges within the dialogue.
Yeah. And Tim, can I cut to the trailer real quick and
Please do it.
Okay, hang on. All right.
My name is Leon Vitali, and you may know me from my appearances in Stanley Kubrick's films Barry Lyndon and Eyes Wide Shut. 30-odd years ago, I starred in a picture called The Terror of Frankenstein. Cast and crew were most proud of the fact that this was a film version closest to Mary Shelley's original story. But I suppose all you people want to hear about the murder and madness that happened after the cameras stopped rolling.
All right. And we're back.
That's the real Leon Vitalis.
Yeah, that was such a cool movie. That was a lot of fun. That was one I had that had been on my radar to watch for a long time. And then you were nice enough to gift me a copy when we were in New Orleans. And
Right.
yeah, but very, very cool movie. I love what you're doing with the remix soundtracks and just kind of like taking an older film and just like forcing a new narrative into it. Like, yeah, on both that and Sex Madness Revealed were both really great.
Well, thank you. It's a real trip, and it's fun to write because the structure is already there. You just have to manipulate it to your own purposes.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed that one. So the second one I did, and that was really fun because I worked with a couple of actors that I really admired. Clu Gulager, who is incredible in The Killers and so many amazing films. He's in his 80s, so I was very fortunate to work with him. Leon Vitale's in it. And so then really wanted to do another version, and I had met Patrick Cooper, who's writing for Bloody Disgusting, and is also a crime writer and novelist. And we met at the Stanley, and he interviewed me about Terror Frankenstein. And so we got talking, and he ended up co-writing it with me, and that was really cool chance to take that another step. That whole idea of what we were working with.
That's cool. And yeah, since we're talking about that, let's cut to the trailer for Sex.
Oh, sure.
Everything queued up.
Hello and welcome.
Oh. There's Patton Oswalt just jumping right in right ahead of me. Hang on.
Can't miss that voice.
Yeah. All right, let's try it again.
Hello and welcome to another edition of The Film Dick. Tell our audience what you told me.
My grandfather, Horace Holloway, wrote and directed this
These
film.
old fogies are always trying to take the joy out of life.
So much mystery surrounding this film. The dates and names don't match up.
You see, grandfather was an LAPD detective.
I wonder if I couldn't be a please.
A secret society sex orgies. You're blowing my mind here, Holloway.
Humanity is bound to return to the dark ages of despair.
I gave myself to him.
Your grandfather gave him syphilis?
God, maybe you're talking about. How did this happen? The best part of the evening is about to begin.
Spectacular understatement.
Sex Madness Revealed.
I love that trailer.
Yeah, it's pretty great. That's cool. So yeah, so how did you end up connecting with Patton for that one?
Pat and I are friends. My daughter and her daughter are buddies. They met at a park just when they were like 2 years old.
That's cool.
And he's a huge film buff, and so am I, and we had a lot to talk about. And I really wanted to work with him, and I was really happy that he could do this project because he was dynamite. And the other actor is Rob Zabrecki. Are you familiar with him?
No, I wasn't.
He's an incredible guy. He was in a band called Possum Dixon in the 90s.
Oh, sure. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Lead singer of that. And then he kind of fell out of love with rock and roll, and he became a master magician. And he's a huge draw at the Magic Castle here in Hollywood.
Oh, cool.
And then he started acting, and he also does auctioning and a billion other things on this. Oh, he's also written a memoir that's amazing called Strange Cures. I can't recommend that enough. But he does this incredible character of the magician as this sort of like a guy who grew up like in his parents' basement and has never really learned how to interact with the world, and then he's out there doing magic, and it's a great bit because the magic's great, but he's very awkward. So we just saw his bit, and we were like, "Holy shit, he's going to be perfect for this role." And so we're friends now, and he's an amazing. He was. So again, two great actors I got to work with. It's very cool.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. We got to see that in New Orleans at the theater for Overlook, and yeah, that was pretty well received if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it was. It was nice to see it. A big 4K version of that
Yeah,
film.
that was cool. And yeah, I had never seen the original Sex Madness, because there were a whole bunch of scare films back at that time, because there was Reefer Madness was the one that I think people know the best, but a lot of it was kind of like exploitation and scare films at the time. But you and Patrick, ended up kind of writing a whole new narrative around it and kind of turned it into like a much more of a horror story.
Yeah, Brett Wood, who's at Kino, he's a huge historian of those kind of films. And I know what he loves about them, and I do too, is they're pretending to be these preachy, sort of educational films, and yet they're really just salacious, and they just want to sell it on that. So we took that and ran with it and turned it into, it's a secret society with sex orgies and all kinds of strange shit going on.
Yeah, the one so I was watching one of your most recent films on Monday. It was the Wyatt Earp documentary, and With Him Came the West, which was great, by the way. That was a lot of fun.
Oh, thanks.
And the one thing kind of clicked to me when I was watching that is that everything that you've done, and that you and either yourself or you and Rodney have done together, it all seems to be kind of like blurring the line between reality and art, and that seems to be a kind of a consistent through line on all of your. It's kind of like taking these pieces of art, or icons that I don't know, that we've been familiar with for many years, like The Shining, and just kind of like turning it on its head and forcing us to look at it in a different way, and kind of, I don't know, but it seems like it's even something that you do with the sound and the syncing. I don't know. I'm doing a terrible job of articulating this, but am I right in seeing?
Oh, absolutely. And with the Wyatt Earp project, which my friend Mike Plant directed, we took the starting point was the myth of Wyatt Earp and the battle at the OK Corral and him as the hero. And then you start digging into it and you realize that he tried to create that legend. And so we track that and what other people's reaction to that legend is, but just turning the whole thing upside down and different angles to look at it. And I like that film. It's a much more sort of meditative film. If you meet Mike, it's Mike. He's just a really mellow raconteur, and that's sort of the beat of that film.
That's cool. Yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. It was I was telling my friends about it. Just I don't want to spoil the movie, because a good chunk of the movie is about what happened to Wyatt Earp after the OK Corral, and I don't know if is it a spoiler to say like where he moved in his later part of his life?
No, go ahead.
But yeah, he moved to Hollywood and kind of got involved in some level in actual filmmaking of Westerns in the 1920s during the silent era. I had no idea. I didn't know any of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was really cool. Just and I guess, and I didn't see the James Garner film either, but I guess was it Sunset? Was that?
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, I hadn't seen that either. So that's kind of.
Yeah, that's a highly fictionalized version of what he was doing, but it's a cool jumping off point that he went out there and just bugged everybody and tried to get him to make a movie about him and what a hero he was. And of course, his memory was starting to go too. So when he was telling the story, I think he was having trouble remembering what was real and what was part of the story, and when he told it the last time, and so that adds to it.
Very cool. Well, what do you say we cut to the trailer for that one?
Great.
All right, hang on.
From the audience, I live for that. When they think I'm really dead or hurt, that's when I think I've done well.
Good and evil, black and white, very few shades of gray.
The telephone, Muybridge's groundwork for motion pictures.
North of $1 million by today's standard.
It's the abuse of youth in Vietnam.
Men who put things right and women who sort of, knew their place and, oh, how it's changed.
I think Wyatt Earp's more Deadpool than he is Captain America.
All right.
Right on.
Yeah. So we were able to catch that one on iTunes earlier this week.
Wait, that's a tough question. Prior to his.
Sorry about that. Okay. We were able to catch that one on iTunes earlier this week. Where all is that one playing right now?
Yeah, it's on iTunes and a couple other platforms, and even Canopy if you have the through the libraries, public libraries, you can get a hold of it there. I think it just dropped in the last couple of weeks, so it's brand new to the world.
Okay. Yeah. Awesome. Well, I'm glad we got you right in time.
Yeah.
I highly recommend it. For anybody that has any passing interest in Wyatt Earp at all, because totally, makes you rethink everything.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. So I have just a general question for you. Like when you hear the word producer, that means a lot of different things. And you have a lot of producing credits on your IMDb page. Like, are you generally doing the same type of producing on all the films that you do, or is it different depending on what director you're working with?
Yeah, it's different with every director and different with every project. I work with the directors, in developing the project, and then I'm on set if there's a set, and I watch every cut and I give my thoughts on every cut, and then I do the work along the way of just getting everyone on board to do the post-production, production, etc. But I've been really fortunate. I've worked with, I have certain skills and I have certain spots that are things I can do, but perhaps not as well as I'd like to. And I've been really lucky to work with a ton of other producers, partner up with them on a bunch of certain projects. And that's been really great. I've been just really lucky to really collaborate with some interesting people.
Very cool. All right. Well, we have a question from the chat. Nick Price is asking, are there any other historical figures that you're interested in doing a film on besides Wyatt Earp?
Let me go through the catalog of stuff I'm working on and some of the stuff that got put on hold for the moment. Yes, the big one is, and this is not it's certainly not a well-known character, but there's a guy named Charles Starrett who played the Durango Kid in 79 films between 1935 and 1952. He made about 8 films a year. Over his career, he made over 200 films, almost all of them as a cowboy star. And I'm guessing you've never heard of him, Devin.
No.
No one has. And so anyway, I got really intrigued in this forgotten, lost character. And also these films they're bonkers because it's a series, but there's no continuity. No one works from the last film on the next film. There doesn't seem to be any. They were made by Columbia Films. But so like in one film, Durango has his sidekick Smiley, right? Next film, he meets Smiley for the first time. The film after that, they're old friends who get together to do something. It's just, and it's like that in every film with in every facet you can think of. So anyway, I did the Terror of Frankenstein kind of thing on that with a more straightforward audio commentary. And then I was in the process of interviewing some people before our current situation happened, but I'm getting back into that. So that's one I'm working on right now.
Very cool. Yeah, that sounds great.
Thanks.
Yeah. You seem to know a lot about Westerns. That seems to be was that your main wheelhouse, like as far as genre of films?
It is. It's my comfort food, man. I can just watch, any Western, a great Western, a bad Western, it's very familiar to me, and it just flows right over. It's great.
Yeah. Did you see The Proposition?
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that movie. That's probably my favorite Western, at least of modern age for sure.
It's really cool. It's really cool.
Nice. Well, we have a young gentleman by the name of Patrick Cooper, and he says, as someone who took a huge dive into The Shining, what did you think of Dr. Sleep?
I like Dr. Sleep. I thought it was it was a good way to go forward from both the book and the last film, for the film. Sure. And it was its whole other thing. I think it was scary in a completely different way than The Shining, which is kind of cool, and I don't know if there are any nods to the sort of Room 237, the theories that people have in it. But I'm sure some people are working on that right now as we talk in 8-point type somewhere on a part of the internet.
Right.
But I dug it. Do you like it?
Oh, I thought it was great. Yeah, I really loved it. Yeah, and I thought the stuff that worked best in the film was the stuff that was not the Shining stuff. Like I thought I liked the third act, but I think the third act was probably my least favorite part of the movie. I just liked everything with Ewan McGregor and the True Knots, and I liked we saw it in the theater, and I don't know, like they kind of did the way that everything was like floating, like the True Knots were kind of floating through space and kind of looking out and trying to find people's minds. I don't like that. The special effects I thought were really strong in that.
Yeah, there are some scenes in those first two acts that are just terrifying too.
Especially if you have children, like
exactly.
There's some stuff in Dr. Sleep that is I would agree more unsettling than the actual Shining.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of The Shining, you and Rodney Escher did a film called Room 237. We talked about it a couple times. I'm going to cue up the trailer right now, and then I definitely want to hear all about it because I have a lot of questions.
Okay, great.
All right, so let me get that all ready to go. And share screen.
Subtext. Kubrick forces you to go up 7,000 miles. Says moon room. Can't let anyone know what's really going on in room 237.
All right. And I got to say, you know, I think Room 237 is maybe in my top 5, you know, documentaries I've ever seen. Like, it was just such a brilliant idea. And if anybody hasn't seen it, it's like a totally cool take on The Shining. And can you kind of tell us a little bit about what Room 237 is about for people that haven't seen it?
Yeah, it's basically 5 people who've spent some good time thinking about The Shining, watching The Shining, and coming up with theories about what it's really about. And then we listen to them narrate that as we show the film sort of through their eyes. And you know, they don't all agree, but sometimes it works together, and sometimes it doesn't. But it's an interesting ride in that sense.
Yeah, no, it's incredible. I mean, and the thing is that, you know, my big takeaway from watching Room 237 is that all of these theories kind of went to just wild extremes to where you're like, all right, you know, you lost me. But everybody kind of has a hook, like, oh yeah, I see that. You know, why is Jack Nicholson reading a Playgirl magazine? And oh yeah, there's the yellow bug on the side of the road, and that was the yellow bug in the car, and you know, that was like a big fu to Stephen King. And I was like, oh, like, so, you know, a lot of these things really are there. But like, yeah, after you see Room 237, it's totally going to change forever the way you watch The Shining. Like, you're never going to be able to see it the same way again.
I think so. And I know when we were researching it and reading all these various theories on the internet or watching people's videos, I would have that same experience you just described of like, yeah, I don't know. And then there'd be something like, you know, the Gemini twins, that Gemini was the predecessor to the Apollo for the space program or something, where you go, oh, what the, oh no, maybe for a moment it's real. And if so, this whole world, reality as I know it, is completely changed. So yeah, very similar experience.
Yeah. So what year did that come out? Was it 16 or 17?
2012.
Oh, Jesus. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess I didn't see it till later, but so have you and Rodney, have you revisited with any of the subjects in the film? Like, have you talked to them and gotten their feedback about what they thought about the film after it came out?
Yeah, we actually, we did. Everyone except for pretty much everyone. And, you know, we hung out with Bill Blakemore, who does the American Indians, and Jeffrey Cox, who's has a theory about the number 42 and about Nazi Germany. And they were at Sundance with us, so that was really cool because we got them up on stage to answer questions. And then Jay Widener came to an earlier version of the Overlook, the Stanley, and he's the Apollo 11 guy. Okay. And then John Felt Ryan actually moved out to LA, and we hung out a bunch. But the coolest is Leon Vitale, who was in the film in the sense that he was in Kubrick's Barry Lyndon. And have you seen that amazing film about Leon called Film Worker?
No.
Oh, it's great. It's a great documentary.
He was like Kubrick's assistant of or like DP, right?
He was his assistant, and his everyman, like he did everything for him for years. Okay. So he was a little like the New York Times actually tracked him down to just say that our film was full of shit. So, which was really a nice compliment. But we actually met him, and he became a buddy, and you know, he's in that Terra Frankenstein film of mine. So I don't know. It's been fun to. I'm proud to say we're friends with all these people now. I don't think we pissed anybody off.
Yeah, well, I mean, the way that you guys, I thought the film was very respectful of everybody's take, because it was, you guys listened to what everybody had to say, and then you created visuals, to go around it. And I think in both, in all three of the ones that you and Rodney did together, I love the recreations that you do, of the people watching the television and seeing people's experiences. And you guys do this, I mentioned it earlier, you do this wild thing with sound where the dialogue of the mouth isn't always kind of syncing up, and it kind of like just creates this really unsettling, almost like a subconscious kind of, almost like puts you in like a strange trance. I think especially on the nightmare, like that one really got to me. Yeah.
Yeah. And Rodney did that cool thing with the lenses where he would they would kind of be a little out of, there's always something sort of around the edge of the frame, like a shadow or things were a little blurry. Thought that added to that exact thing you're talking about.
Yeah, no, I absolutely love it. Yeah, so I don't know. Yeah, I wanted to ask you about Primal Scream.
Yeah.
If you don't mind, I'd like to cut to that trailer next.
Please.
Okay, cool. You doing okay? I know you got a cold. I don't want to like put you out too hard. I know you're feeling kind of ill tonight.
It's okay, man. I'm good.
Okay.
Close your eyes. Breathe in and out. From the darkness comes a scream. Into it, you will project the sights and sounds that haunted you as a child. Let them wash over you. What do you see? What do you hear? What was it that's been burnt onto your primal scream? Close your eyes.
So yeah, if you have Shudder, this is a must watch. Like I've seen this a handful of times now. Like this one's just really cool. And it's now what was Primal Scream? Because the whole first episode was kind of about automatons and the fear of the uncanny valley. Were you guys planning on making a series of shorts, like 20 to 30 minute long shows?
Yeah, that was the idea. Okay. And when Shudder approached us, we were actually going to do 3 very short episodes, like 10 minutes. And we ended up doing this as more of a pilot. Mm-hmm. And the jumping off point for this was the Magic trailer, the trailer for the film Magic.
Yeah.
Which gives you an insight into what the rest of the series would have been pop cultural things like that, like a trailer or something you would see on television, or a McDonald's ad or something that have sort of gotten under your skin and have, grown. And we interview a couple of people who had experiences with them. Mm-hmm. And then we also, with recreations and with other things, we kind of track the history of that actual artifact, in this case, the trailer for the movie.
Yeah, no, that was terrifying. I don't think I was old enough to see that when it came out. I only saw Magic, I think, a couple years ago. But yeah, the trailer is just terrifying. Like that's.
I know, it's much scarier than the movie. But yeah, it was really unfortunate because we were geared up to go with that because we had about 8 ideas of stuff that we were working on. So, but maybe they'll resurface. There was this great one about Mac the Knife. Mac Tonight, remember the?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah, and so we tracked that from the real life serial killer that the song was based on, that was in a 3-penny opera that went on to being a hit in the 50s, and then that thing. And now, I don't know if you know it, but Mac Tonight has become like Pepe. He's the QAnon people use him.
Man.
Yeah, I know. It's terrible. They're stealing all our stuff.
That's it was Doug Jones. That was his.
That's right.
I think he needs to take it back, you know, like the way the Pepe the Frog guys, you know, he needs to,
Agreed.
I think he needs to make some new, you know, Mac Tonight service announcements.
Hey, I think that's what needs to happen.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah, no, I would, man, please make that. Yeah, that was, I guess that was my other question is because I know that, you know, you had mentioned earlier that was a pilot. So I was wondering if these ideas that you guys had planned, if they're going to see the light of days as like feature-length documentaries, or if Shudder maybe someday might try to, you know, come back to that and pick it up. Or
I sure hope so. We were really excited and ready to go, and we had a great team on that. On the pilot, and I know we could get together. We worked with the producer, with the line producer, and with the DP on a couple other things since. So I know we could get everybody back together and just do a great job.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, I thought it was awesome. I mean, yeah, there was the Cursed Films. I don't know if you saw that. You know, I mean, that seemed to be incredibly well received on Shudder, and yeah,
right.
So, I mean, there's a huge audience for that kind of thing.
I know. I don't know. It was
come on, Shudder.
Come on, Shudder.
Yeah,
get a petition going.
So, you know, I don't, you know, you've talked a lot about your writing, and you have one book that I'm, you know, been kind of interested in called The Feral Boy Who Lives in Griffith Park.
Right.
You pull that up. And so that is an anthology. It says New Myths and Legends from the Wilderness of Los Angeles. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so, you know, Griffith Park in Los Angeles is the largest urban park in the country. It's 3 times the size of whatever that one in New York City is.
Central Park?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Okay.
Central Park, yeah. And, but anyway, it just seemed like a great place to create. It just seemed ready for legends and a whole new mythology. So I created the idea of that there's a immortal boy who lives in Griffith Park, and he never ages, and he's been there for all his time. And then I wrote a number of stories based on him in certain different periods of the history of Griffith Park. And then I invited some of my favorite writers to write their own stories and add them to the anthology. And so they're all different, you know, they're all, you know, they're based on the idea of this kind of scary idea of this kid out there living in this park in the middle of this huge city and interacting with people sort of minimally.
And is this based on any kind of true life mythology, or is this completely your own mythos that you created?
This is my whole thing. This is my mythos.
Cool.
Yeah, it was based, I was going to that park a lot with my daughter, who was like 3 years old. She was just this kind of kid that just had to go to like the park like 5 hours a day. It was just like endless. So I had a lot of time to think and daydream. And I think that's where that came from, and a lot of sleepless nights at the time too, you know.
Nice. No, I definitely need to get a copy of that one. That was that just kind of popped up on my radar as I was, you know, doing some research on you over the last couple of weeks. So I was like, oh, that looks pretty sweet.
I'll send you one, but for your viewers, it's on Amazon, and there's a lot of places you can find it. And I like my stories, but there's some really great other stories by other people in there. So.
Cool.
It's pretty cool.
Right on. Man, I see the sun is going down on you, so I need to squeeze in a couple more questions before
please. Here we go.
Okay, so one thing we haven't talked about too much yet is the nightmare. And so let me pull that up. And this is Nightmare is maybe the scariest documentary I've ever seen it's about sleep paralysis. And you guys kind of tackled it from you know, like a mythos and a spiritual background, as well as the science behind sleep paralysis. And once again, just the way that you guys put this thing together is completely terrifying. And can you kind of tell me what the origin of this project was?
Well, Rodney actually had sleep paralysis as in his, like when he was like 19 or something. and it just never left him. And he was terrified that it would happen again, and it fortunately didn't. But we were able to find a number of people who unfortunately have been having it for a good part of their life. It's almost like a curse. And, you know, if that's part of your reality, you got to learn to live with it, but you also got to, you're going to give it meaning, and you're going to value it or do something with it, you know? And like you said, it can be spiritual, it can be an internal thing, it can be about your perception of the world and reality. And so it was such a big, it just opened up so many subjects and so much great, you know, discussions. And then the stuff we did on set, I agree, is just really, I mean, it's just scary, the idea of being paralyzed and at the mercy of your dreams.
Yeah, no, you guys did some awesome recreations of the dreams, and I think just having the real life narration, you know, with those visuals is just completely terrifying. And I think that one is on Amazon Prime right now. You can watch that.
I think you're right.
Okay.
It was on Netflix, but yeah, it's on Amazon now.
Yeah. So yeah, Primal Scream on Shudder. Oh, there we go. Yeah, Nightmare on Prime. And how about if people want to see Room 237? Where can people see that right now?
Room 237. My daughter's fucking with the light. The other one. There we go. Room 237 is on iTunes as well. Thanks. I think it's on iTunes and other and Amazon and so forth as well.
Cool.
And I have a new film called the El Duce Tapes, and that's going to be coming out on the Arrow, the new Arrow app, in November.
I'm so excited. That's one I've been tracking for a while. Like that dude is a character. So
do you know El? I mean, have you followed his?
Yeah, familiar. I think the first time I became familiar with him was the Kurt and Courtney documentary.
Yeah.
That Nick was it Nick Broomfield? Is that
Broomfield? Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, that was the first time he kind of popped up on my radar, and yeah. So I can't wait to see what you guys have in store, you know, for that.
Oh, it's cool. It's another found footage thing, but it's sort of footage that me and another friend shot in like 1992. So it's on like a camcorder.
So I'm sorry, did you say you shot?
My friend Ryan and I started shooting this footage. We found El Duce and we started filming him. And then Ryan, you know, we all have a lot of things going on, especially when you're like 20. But anyway, Ryan just got obsessed, and he just was filming him. And then I lost track of the guy, and I was like, what the fuck happened to that footage? And then 25 years later, we got it back, and we recut it. We cut it. It's like almost 40 hours of footage of this guy. So anyway, it was a real journey, but it's really cool. It's really cool.
Yeah, I can't wait. What is there a street date for that yet, or is it just sometime in November?
Well, in November, I think it's going to be really early November. I think they're trying. They said they're going to try and it's going to be one of the titles they're going to push for that month. Cool. And then the Blu-ray will come out in February, and we're doing a lot of really fun special feature stuff for that. So that's really fun right now.
No, that one's been a long time coming. I've been tracking that since last year, like just waiting for that one to come out.
Oh, cool! You'll dig it.
Yeah. And I know you and Rodney have another one in the pipeline too coming, right? Like the Glitch in the Matrix.
Yeah, Glitch in the Matrix, and that'll probably be out in January or February.
Okay.
And it's the, you know, it's sort of the Room 237 approach. We're talking to people about the concept of living in a computer simulation, and then through animation and repurposed footage, and really pushing it this time, like really visually, this thing is just crazy. If you get a chance to see it in the theater, I think it's such a ride, and the music is so fucking intense. And it's one of those things, like you said, with The Shining, where you're with Room 237, when you're like, I don't know, and then you're like, oh fuck, you know, maybe it's true, you know. So yeah, that's a really cool film.
Awesome. Yeah, I love everything you guys have done. Like, yeah, so I need more. And yeah, I've been waiting for El Duce tapes for a long time. So I'm very, very excited for that one.
Oh, cool.
And that's cool. I didn't know that you were one of the original, like videographers back in the day. That's pretty sweet.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I had a lot of ideas back then, and fortunately Ryan had more of the follow through,
Mm-hmm.
But I was a little disappointed at the time when he disappeared with the footage, and
yeah,
I'm really glad we got it back. And
what a gift!
He was a part of the process. We're all friends. It's all good.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Tim, I know you're feeling a little under the weather, so I really appreciate you you joining us tonight. Is there anything else you want to let us know that you're up to before I let you go?
No, I'm working on some stuff, but I think we covered a lot of the stuff that's coming up, and I appreciate your being such a thoughtful and insightful fan of the work, because it's really nice to talk to someone who really gets it, and I really appreciate it.
Well, right on. Thank you. Yeah, all of my friends, I'm always like, you gotta see what Tim and Rodney are doing. Like, it's just
cool.
It's so cool. Also, I mean, they also feel like they're movies that are just like exactly my sensibilities. Like, it's exactly what I want to watch. So yeah.
Oh, cool.
Totally dig. I'm sign me up for whatever subscription you guys do. So
right on, man.
I'll be there for Arrow for sure in November. That sounds great.
Oh, cool. Right. And I'll send you the hot chicks.
Yeah, I would love to see it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that was another thing. I think some people were asking, how can they get a copy of Terror of Frankenstein? Is that available for order anywhere?
Yeah, just write me. My address it's Tim, the number 2, Kirk at Yahoo. Just write me and I can set them up.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll put all your information in the show notes. So this will be available on YouTube in a couple hours. So like anybody can go and watch it on YouTube after this.
Oh, perfect.
All right. Well, this Saturday morning we are kicking off Night of the Living Driveway Con here in the backyard. There are 3 RSVP slots available for Sunday. And so you just go to drivewaycon.com for all the details. We'll be back tomorrow night with Trader Brandon, and he's going to tell us all about his time as a Disney Imagineer, a child actor, and all of the new products that he is making. And that'll be tomorrow night at 6 o'clock. And we have electronic goth rock duo Twin Tribes with us on Friday. So we have a really killer lineup for panels this week. And our show in the backyard kicks off on Saturday. So thank you guys for joining us for tonight. And thank you so much, Tim, for kicking us off with an awesome interview to start things off.
Thank you, Devin.
All right.